Let's just start where your responses began. Looking back over the last, 10 or 15 years, how would you describe the presence of crime in our communities? What have you actually seen? You must have a first-hand view at the DA's office. We'll begin with you.
Yes, sir. I'm very proud of the 15-year commitment that I have had with Project Safe Neighborhood. That is a federal initiative where we have local, state, and federal law enforcement partners from our SBI to DEA to FBI that come in. In the fall of 2020, all of the local, state, and federal partners made an announcement in Rowan County that crime in Salisbury was at a 20-year low, and violent crime in Salisbury was as low as it had been since 1999. Now, the facts are we have had an uptick in crime. The state has, the nation has. And what are we going to do about that? Well, we continue with the partnership of Project Safe Neighborhood that has a proven track record of reducing the recidivism. We talk to the offenders, we bring them in, and we give them a choice. The next felony that you commit because you're a convicted felon, we're going to shop around. Either my office can prosecute you as a habitual felon, or the U.S. Attorney's Office may be able to get you more significant time. Or you have a choice. You can change your life. You have all these community resources here. We usually do a notification twice a year in the Civic Center, and you can change your life because all of us want folks not to commit crime and be a better, productive citizen. And so we give them choices. Oftentimes, some of those folks do pick the right choice. Sometimes they don't, and we make those tough decisions for them. Something else that we can do to help curb crime is continue enhancing our gang task force that we have here. We have gang trainings. Matter of fact, I've coordinated a gang training with our local school administrators for tomorrow. I've previously presented at gang symposiums. Our Salisbury Police Department has new tools to combat crime. The Real-Time Crime Center, they have analysts that create data-driven priority offenders for our office that we utilize. They track and monitor hotspots, and all these are very important to help curb our crime in our community.
Mr. Butler?
What I've seen is Salisbury has become known as Shotsbury. That's it in a nutshell, folks. The gun violence in this town is out of control. And Project Safe Neighborhood, it sounds good. It looks good on a resume. It makes the feds look real good when they come and take a really good case and move it to federal court. But here's the reality of that. Those cases get charged on a local level, and then they sit in our courts for better than a year while we're waiting on Ms. Cook and the feds to decide what to do with it. They take the slam dunk cases that they can't possibly lose in a million years, which are few and far between, and then they leave us everything that would be difficult to prosecute. Except now it's a year and a half to 2 years old, and it's been sitting and clogging up our courts the entire time. I would immediately address the feds as your district attorney and tell them we are not going to sit and house their prisoners on our dime waiting for them to make decisions. We will prosecute them aggressively ourselves, and we can do that, and we can get them time. And if the feds want to come in and prosecute them behind that, they can do that. There's nothing that says they can't come and prosecute over top of that and get them even more time. And if we do that, we will send a message here in the community. Instead of somebody being prosecuted in Greensboro or Charlotte, they would be prosecuted here in Salisbury. The result of that is people in our local jail see that. They see the time they get. The people out on the street see the time they get. And that deters future crime in Rowan County. Not some federal agency coming in and swooping up all the glory at the last minute and farming it out to some other city and some other town.
Thank you. Mr. Butler, I think we start with you this time. Let me ask you, just all in all, do you think the court system in Rowan County, and I mean both civil and criminal, do you think it's working as well as it can? And if the answer is, well, it could be better, how could it be better?
It's not working as well as it can. In the past month, in district court here in Rowan County, at least 3 different times, I saw district court judges have to stop court to deal with the assistant DAs because they didn't know what they were doing. They had to actually stop court, take them out in the hall, and explain to them what was expected of them in court. Go to court and watch. I encourage people all the time, go and see what's happening in your public courts and see if you are happy with the representation you're getting on a daily basis. They need training. Our office has been a revolving door of talented prosecutors over the last decade. They've left. What we've hired are people straight out of law school. They've gotten no training, no support. What they've gotten is a fear of making a decision that might get them in trouble, and they've become paralyzed by it. That, coupled with that lack of training and experience, is resulting in cases getting dismissed left and right, judges stopping court to deal with the situation, a total disaster in our criminal courts, and it's a sad sight to see. It's hard to sit there and watch it and not get up and stop and tell these prosecutors what they need to be doing just to get through their daily job. That's the sad reality of it, and it doesn't stop at district court. In Superior Court, we're seeing cases dismissed for violations, serious violations of constitutional rights, things that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime out of a prosecutor. You know, serious child sexual assault cases dismissed because of the prosecutors withholding Brady exculpatory evidence. That can't happen, folks. The worst thing we can do is prosecute an innocent man in our courts. As a prosecutor, you should be on guard for that at all times.
All right, Ms. Cook.
Thank you. I'm not aware of the multiple cases that my opponent points out. There was one recently that was decided by a 14-year prosecutor who made a simple mistake, and I would challenge anybody in this room, if they have not made a mistake in their career or their life, I would sure like to meet them because it was not done intentionally. And it's unsettling that someone would use a simple mistake by a 14-year veteran prosecutor for some type of political advantage. In my office, we have over 130 years to date of combined prosecutorial experience. Okay, this is not private practice, but folks in my office combined 130 years prosecutorial experience. We just are coming out of the pandemic. By local and state restrictions, our office was not able to proceed with any jury trials for an entire year. Matter of fact, when we were able to proceed, we had to wait another 2 months until May of 2021 before we could proceed with any jury trials involving inmates, and that was due to a judge's order. That was when other counties were able to proceed moving their cases forward. We had to substantially reduce the number of people that could come into a courtroom over a year. So what does that do? You have cases sitting there, and then you have more cases being charged that day, the next week, and the next month. We weren't able to export as many cases as what we normally did. And so we're dealing with that now. But it's not just our office, it's across the state and probably the nation.